Peter, thank you for coming today to ATLANT 3D, to the company. Great pleasure knowing you now for 3 years since we met last time. And the reason I invited you here today is I wanted to talk with you and get your view on what have been happening with ATLANT, why you decided to invest in ATLANT, and what was the trigger, and how you see the future of the company. If you see something different in ATLANT than you might see in other companies, and why you actually decided to support us.
And thank you so much for inviting me. So I am Peter. I'm a local businessman here in Denmark, lives in Copenhagen, and I have a background within building companies. I built two software companies, which we exited later, and building a third one now. And I'm an entrepreneur and really like the journey and really see where there's opportunity and a place to create value. How we were introduced to a mutual friend who just said, Peter, you need to meet Maksym. I knew, I guess within the first 10-15 minutes while talking to you that he was something really, really special. And what you accomplished in a very short while, it was really, really impressive. And at the time, ATLANT wasn't a big company, but it had big dreams, and you knew how to achieve them, and you knew exactly what to do. One of the main achievements at that time where I was so impressed was that you actually did a deal with NASA. Unbelievable, as a small company, that you can even get that far. And then you're having this groundbreaking technology. From a very early stage, you could kind of see the value in that you can actually 3D print on a very, very small level, atom level, and that really makes sense. And the application for that is just like mind-blowing, because it can be applied to so many different industries. So it's more like the challenging part is actually to choose a niche where you can say we can really get success in this small niche in the first, so we can have some kind of conversation of the company.
What was your first impression when you entered to the lab?
Really impressive, because it was, the structure of it was like really professional, even at a small scale. When
you saw our lab and you saw the technology, you are not from our field. You are not technical, you are not engineer, you never invested in a nanotechnology company. You had a different, very strong view why you wanted to be part of ATLANT.
And I think that's a really good question. I think, not coming from the industry is both an advantage but also a disadvantage, right? Because I don't know the technology risk as much as many other people. So what I primarily invest in is people. It's the team who is going to execute the plan. So that is number one. And number two, obviously, you need to fulfill the market where there's a huge potential. And I think, first of all, this was a team thing. I really liked you. I really saw how you had a drive and a clear vision of what you want to achieve. So I guess this was the first thing I saw. And the second thing was the potential. It's just mind-blowing what the potential for ATLANT is.
If you compare that time and this time, would you consider again to invest? Do you see the difference? Do you see the change?
I definitely see a change, and I think you kind of validated. When I came, you tried to build the machine that actually is going to do it. I saw the kind of first thing, so I feel I was a part of that journey. Now you have it, and you're ready to put it on the market. I actually see a big de-risk in this period.
If we bring now this machine to the market, what would be your best thought, best guess, the best way to approach it from your point of view?
And you already are considering all this and you're working in these areas. Obviously, you need to get the technology known. So you work with universities, you work with scientists, you work with all these kind of people, and have them using the technology will be a first step to kind of implement the technology worldwide. And obviously big companies, and there's so many of, we talked about applications in different fields. There's so many big companies that really kind of need to know this technology is there and how they can apply it.
If we take the business model, as you mentioned, like working, so providing services and selling equipment, do you see some other opportunities for the company, like how we can monetize what we develop? Do you see any other business model that you think we should explore?
We talked about technology hubs.
Yes.
Where you actually create a hub where you invite other companies to work in the same place, and you will go out and building these hubs and kind of be a first mover on that. And I think that's an absolutely brilliant idea, because you get a first-hand knowledge of new technologies. You can actually get in very early on these technologies, and you can see what is complementary to ATLANT, and so what can we actually bulk on as a company and develop that in a very, very good way, but also in a cheap way. I really like that strategy, and I think that most countries need to ensure that they have a backbone technology that really first class, and everybody wants to be, in this game, and they all know that everything in the future is technology, and they need to be on the forefront of that. So I think it's super important right now for countries to invest in this, and countries know this. So I really think there's a huge opportunity here that kind of needs to be, fulfilled.
Which countries do you think would be benefiting from this? Or who could be our first movers? Denmark, or do you think European Union or some specific country in Europe or elsewhere would be the one you think we should immediately go and talk?
You would kind of want to be in US, but you kind of also want to be in Asia. And I know for a fact that a lot of Middle East countries really want to invest in these kind of hubs and in technology to be on the forefront. I actually think you would go where there is opportunity.
Do you think there is opportunity in Denmark?
Yeah, definitely.
So what can we do to convince Danish ecosystem or authorities to invest in such advanced technologies and making digital manufacturing?
First of all, we want to have all the associations that is relevant and part of that journey. And we talked about Dansk Industri, which is a Danish industry, which is a kind of a really big organization. And I think that conversations with them about how can we create a hub and how can we be on the forefront would be very applicable. DTU, the technical university, is a good place to start as well. So one thing I really like about being an investor in ATLANT is I actually get information about the development. So you, on a quarterly basis, you send out information to shareholders, quite comprehensive. So it's a very detailed brief of what is going on in the company. So you really look at shareholder, they have to be informed and they need to be a part of the journey. And I really like that, because that, as a shareholder, gives me a lot of security or first-hand knowledge about the development of the company.
If you look in the next 5 years, what future would you foresee for ATLANT? You can, just paint a new picture. How would you see the development of the company?
I think it's very difficult to look 10 years ahead in an industry that is growing, like crazy. So if we just take rather short term, I think there is a huge potential for ATLANT still. And that belief have only grown stronger over the years. You're ready to go to market. So now you will go to market with your technologies, you will start selling, and you will do, corporations with big companies that can integrate the technology into their production systems. So I actually think there's so many ways where ATLANT can grow. And then we talked about these new hubs, where you kind of create a hub, and the world is, eager to get more technology hubs. So I actually think that's a brilliant idea to work towards. We can be acquired, during the period, because someone come and say, okay, this technology, we just need to own it, no matter whatever costs, because it's so important for us to be on the forefront. And we could go the other way around, to be the acquirer of complementary technologies. And I think, both ways would be very viable and doable.
What would you recommend or suggest to future investors or future partners if they want to join and work with ATLANT? What would be your proposal to them, or what would be your recommendation?
I'm biased, but I really want everybody to invest in ATLANT, because I think there's just a huge future for ATLANT, and this will be a very, very good investment, very worthwhile.
Thank you on this note, and I appreciate you supporting us over these years, and you always gave us a very positive input and recommendation, introductions. It's really a great pleasure working with you.
So thank you very much
you, Peter,
for being a part of the journey.